Okay, this is so cool. I am so honored. Would you please, well, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself in a moment. First, I'm telling you why I'm taking your picture. I am here with my class that I teach at NYU. The course is called From Beginning Photographer to Exhibiting Artist. It's a 12-week session where theoretically in week number 1, they don't even know how to use a camera perhaps. Week number 11, they all get their own solo shows here in this gallery.
Fantastic.
And this one is number 26 or number 27 that we've done of these over the past several years. And we are here tonight to celebrate you, whether you like it or not, because you have the main show out here in the main hallway. And so I'm going to just ask you to introduce yourself and tell us about the work.
Okay.
And then we'll allow them to ask the rest of the questions.
Okay. Well, my name is Morgan Post. I hail from the amazing red state of Utah. And
I like Utah.
I do too. It's a beautiful place. And I made the majority of this work. This work is only a sliver of the entirety of the body of work, which is about 60 pieces. This is only 18. And I made the majority of the work while I was going through graduate school. And I am really fascinated by the American condition of classifying gender and wanting to put labels on human sexuality.
Okay, very clear. And you're here in the alternate processes show, and obviously to do that you must have used an alternate process.
Yes, this process is wet plate collodion, but what makes it different than a lot of the other wet plate collodion is that it's done on black stained glass. It has a different patina surface and depth to the images themselves by choosing the substrate or the medium of black stained glass.
Okay, cool. Did you all hear any of that, or some of it? Why don't you come closer? And so, in case you didn't hear, this is all his work. It is wet plate collodion, which is a very time-intensive process, yes?
Yes, not as time-intensive as maybe daguerreotype, but it's pretty time-intensive. You have to go everywhere with the darkroom. It is what is called orthochromatic, which means it's only sensitive to UV, whereas panchromatic is sensitive to all colors of the rainbow, of which it renders skin, texture, body very different. Freckles turn black, lips turn black, blue eyes turn white. It does very interesting things aesthetically, which are not specific to traditional in the sense of contemporary traditional digital or panchromatic emulsion in film. Right.
You may not know, I believe that panchromatic film was invented for Stan Laurel, Laurel and Hardy.
I didn't know that.
Because his blue eyes, it didn't look good. So they figured out a way to make it so that his blue eyes wouldn't make him look so
creepy.
Yes.
Blue eyes glow. It's really, they're almost cat-like. It's really bizarre. It's really strange.
So, would any of you like to ask a question of our artist?
I see you shot people.
Yes.
Have you experimented before with using the same experimentation that you just said, but with other, let's say, objects?
I like things that move. I've always shot people. I graduated with my BFA from School of Visual Arts, and I studio managed all over the city. And I worked for still life photographers and fashion photographers, and I always gravitated more towards people. So it's not that I have it; it's just I have a preference of what I'm comfortable with shooting, and that's what made me feel comfortable.
Next question.
Well, what kind of light did you use?
These, I can tell you what I use now, and I can tell you what I use then. Now, currently I use strobes. Flash does emit a certain amount of UV and makes the images crisper. With these, I use fluorescent and I use metal halide and mercury vapor lights. So like street lights that are green or blue.
So you're going after a light that's putting out the most UV.
Yes.
What's curious is last time I bought studio flashes, I paid the extra $10 or $35 per unit
coating?
for the UV coating, yes.
I don't want the UV coating.
Okay. I'll scrape it off if you ever have to come over.
I gain about a stop. But you guys are all familiar with ISO, right?
Yes.
This has an ISO between 1 and 3. These plates specifically were loaded into the camera. So these plates are a direct positive process. So they were loaded into the film holder, put into the camera, exposed and developed, and this is a one-of-a-kind final product.
It's amazing.
The camera, well, I've graduated to several different cameras. The plates themselves need to be wet, and it tends to destroy wooden cameras quickly. With these, I use an Imperial 8x10 view camera from 1903. Now I use an Ansco 8x10 view camera from 1940. I recently bought a Century Grand Studio 7A. It's a 10x10, but any parts. And that's about 1890.
10 by 10 so you can flip it horizontal and vertical.
Or do a square. I'm cool with the square. Big square is great.
Do you cut your own glass for this?
Yes, I cut my own glass. I mix my own chemistry. Basically, I come into this with a whole bunch of chemistry, glass, some lights, and I make photographs. No computer involved at all.
That's crazy.
Unless I want to edition prints and then I scan them.
It's amazing.
Cool. Any more questions? So I just have one. Is this your first show?
No, this is my, with this work, it's third exhibition.
Of this?
Third solo exhibition.
So you've been exhibiting other work?
Yes, this is my first show in New York City.
Oh, fabulous.
And I'm very excited.
Okay.
Very excited and very happy and grateful of the gallery for allowing me to be here. I'm originally from Utah, but I've lived out of state longer than I've lived in state. So I'm not a Utah no more.
Where do you live now?
Right now I live upstate, about an hour and a half away near Beacon. And I used to live in the city, all over the city. I've lived in Los Angeles. So I travel, I go where work takes me. So live the dream, I guess.
Good for you.
Keep working. Keep working. Work.
What moved you for this work? I mean, what do you want to say?
Well, the title gives a hint.
Yes, gender.
Gender within Western art history, and there's a lot of androgyny within a generalized theme of the show, and there's no titles on the pieces specifically, but if you were to look at my list, my image list, there are titles that are image specific of other artists, painters, sculptors throughout the late 18th up to the 20th century that I found inspiration from, that I felt were either gendered specific, that I threw into a tableau and changed power roles in the best way I could as a man doing it. But that the inequality of representation between male and female role throughout history is the reason why.
Cool. Okay.
Very good question. Thank you.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time.
It's been a pleasure.
Great pleasure from us. Thank you.
Okay, have a good class. Thank you. Work. Thank you. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it.